society and culture is an extremely broad array of issues, but what we've focused on are aspects of a national society and culture that are directly related to the internet and cyberspace. So, for example, we're not interested in, we're, for example, the society is characterized by such issues as income and class and so forth. We're not, we will draw those kinds of variables into the study, but they're not directly related to cybersecurity. So there are 5 components that we think are of immediate direct interest to cybersecurity. One is what I call a cybersecurity mindset, and I'll maybe get back to that. And the other is trust and confidence in the online services people use. Are they afraid to use the internet, or are they confident that they can get things done online and find good information online? The third is understanding information privacy. Do people have a basic understanding of their rights and responsibilities with respect to the privacy of personal information? And the fourth is reporting mechanisms. If they felt a company or a government agency were to breach their security or breach their privacy, do they know who they would go to report such a problem? And finally, how the media and online platforms deal with the cybersecurity. And the media are, of course, a major influence of the values, attitudes, opinions of the public. But do the media talk about cybersecurity? Do they give people a better understanding of their responsibilities with respect to privacy and security? So those are the 5 elements: the mindset, trust, privacy, reporting, how do you report, and also how does media and how do online platforms deal with these topics. Well, in the early days of computer security, the social cultural aspects of the larger public would probably be less relevant, much less relevant. However, today, when 60% of the world's population are using the internet, essentially billions of people and the choices of billions of people are shaping the privacy and security of the internet we all use. So I think in terms of the coronavirus, everyone's saying we're all in this together. This is equally true in the cybersecurity space. We're all in this together in terms of weaknesses in security can be taken advantage of by malicious users, for example. So it's all users, but also the people who design and who provide services and who use the internet in business and government, all have attitudes, values, and practices that they do every day, and shaping those practices and values is a cultural and social issue that has to be addressed. So it's a realization, I believe, that we're not just depending on the techies within an office, within an organization. They no longer have as much control over our privacy and security, and that we have to depend on a much larger array of people distributed around the world. Well, I think that what we're finding is that generally in many countries, we're at a very formative stage of development in terms of attitudes towards cybersecurity and privacy. We think that the internet is now taken for granted, and that it's so common and so embedded in so many things people do in the most developed economies, but also around the world. So many people are now relying on the internet for so many things. However, people are generally thinking about, this is an incredible technology. I can do a lot with it that I didn't imagine I could do, but they haven't necessarily thought about what does this mean for protecting personal information about me and my family, or how can I protect the security of the equipment and information I use online. And so I think we're in a very formative stage, and hopefully in currently and in the future years, we're going to see a lot of progress in developing a better mindset and a better set of attitudes about privacy and security. Maybe a way of conveying that is an analogy I use. Let me talk about the notion of a cybersecurity mindset. I often say that when people ride bikes, they have a mindset about the security of their bicycle, or they will lock it when they park it outside of the building. They might even get a used bike so that somebody doesn't steal their new bike. But that's part of their mindset. They don't even have to think about it. They just make decisions and act in ways that will protect their bicycle from being stolen. People don't have that kind of accepted habitual use of computing and internet services that will just protect themselves into it. So they don't necessarily just, they have to think about changing their password. They have to think about, oh, do I have to do some kind of multi-factor authentication to use some service? If they develop a much more mature mindset about computing and security and privacy, they will do this as a matter of habit and without even thinking about it. It's just how you use computing. Well, that's a good question. I think generally the media have played a weak role. Let's say, because for example, in many countries, we ask about to what degree do the media inform the public about issues regarding cybersecurity and the privacy of personal information. And in many countries, the media very seldom, if ever, cover such issues. And online platforms, do they routinely try to inform their users and make them aware of issues in this area? So the media have played a relatively weak role in helping people to instill the attitudes, values, and practices that would keep them safe online. And I guess in a more fun and interesting way, the media often play a very negative role in portraying cybersecurity as some kind of an evil empire where the people in dark suits and working for big companies that are trying to do nefarious things through the use of penetrating the security of individuals and so forth. So the movies and television often portray cybersecurity in a very negative way, when actually cybersecurity, if it works, is actually as important as getting a good fast internet connection. A fast internet connection allows you to get access to a world of information rapidly, but also cybersecurity, without cybersecurity, you cannot do that. Therefore, ensuring that the values, attitudes, and practices of billions of users around the world are more mature over time will be critical to the availability of the internet and its effective use.